Morning, everyone. It's Carolyn Moor from the Modern Widows Club, and I am so excited about this Motivation Monday, and I'm going to get right to it because I have a lot to cover. So I've completed my hashtag Moor, MOORLUV tour, the Moor Love Tour. I'm back in Orlando, and I'd like to share just a few highlights with you today. So in 31 days, I drove 4,200 miles solo, and I visited 11 MWC communities in 11 U.S. states around the Southeast region, okay, all during a pandemic. What I can tell you about widows in this community is that they understand the concept of when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And I am so honored to lead this organization for us and just to know each one of you. I wanted to just make sure you hear that. I say all the time that what I know today is because of you, and it is so very true. Widows have an authenticity to them that is so very noticeable when you get to know them. They are not broken. They are broken open, and only the true self is what you will find. That's what I have found. It's a place of honor and a place of what I now refer to as a fulfilled marriage or fulfilled relationship, because you fulfilled your promise to the person you loved and lost. There is no greater honor or level of integrity than that. And it's time we started to honor this and ask others to as well. If we as a culture are going to so highly regard marriages in all of our institutions, it makes sense to highly regard those who have honored their marriage till death did they part. Let's start seeing ourselves as we truly are. Formidable, honorable women who have much to teach others, because we are simply on the other side of that commitment. And we possess a wisdom that can only be found in that stage. So I'm just going to share a couple of things on the More Love Tour. First place I went was Cape Fear, North Carolina, and this is Megan, who's the community advocate there. And we had our first, well, actually our second billboard. It says "Where Widows Go for Support," and it was so awesome to be there and see the billboard myself. And then I also crowned Megan. This is what we do with our community advocates. It's my great honor. There's a story behind that, and some of you may know it, and some of you may learn it in the future. I'm not going to share it now, but there is a story behind that. Then I went to Winston-Salem and I met Jordan. Now, if you've done the Widow Empowerment quiz on our homepage, this was the result of working with Jordan, who's a mental health therapist. Huge heart. She's in a doctorate program now. And this is Caleb, her son, and he can do a Rubik's Cube in less than 1 minute. I saw it from my own two eyes. It was awesome. But the beauty of going to communities is meeting the young people that our ladies are raising, and how important it is to support widows, because that ripples out into their inner circle, their families. Then I went to Greenville, South Carolina. The ladies were so awesome. They gave me this Veuve Clicquot candle, which some of you guys know. Veuve Clicquot is one of our legendary widows. If you go over to modernwidowsclub.org and look under legends, because this was a woman who was widowed young in the 1800s, and she created the champagne house, Veuve Clicquot. Well, anyway, it melted in my car, ladies, but it's okay. I can still burn it. Then when I was in Nashville, I actually ran into Christine Carlson, which was really interesting. Christine Carlson of the Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And Christine is going to be at our Widow Empowerment event for those of you who are coming to Houston in September 17th through 19th. But she was filming her life story with Lifetime TV. Heather Locklear is playing her. So look for a future webinar with both of them, because we're going to have some watch parties when that comes out, I believe on October 15th. So we want to support widows when their stories are shown as heroic women on such a broad scale like that. And then when I was I met a man named Greg Montella with an organization called Heroes International. And this man drove from Ohio to meet me in Nashville because he actually really has a big heart for caring for widows. And he cares for elderly widows in Eastern Europe. And he had some amazing stories to share with me of how great the need is. And it was phenomenal to meet Greg. Then I moved on to St. Louis, and we got together. One of the things I did there was an NPR interview that you can look up. It's How Modern Widows Club is Helping New Widows During the Pandemic. So go ahead and maybe Google that, and you can listen to it. It was amazing getting the support and the media. This is Destiny. She's one of our younger widows, became widowed when she was 21, which is the opposite of what people think. But this is her new little daughter. She's remarried, and I just love the smiles on their face because this is the result of having great community and resilient role models. And I just adore Destiny and how brave she has been to rebuild her life. And then this was my first COVID widow that I met, and she actually was seated next to a social worker who works in the hospital and was able to really encourage her. And because COVID widows have a unique experience, and we're just learning from them right now, what it is that they need and what their experience is like. And it was so wonderful to see her be supported. And then, of course, I went to Busch Stadium because everybody knows that I'm a huge Cardinals fan. But we want to come back next year, and we want to be the charity of choice that they feature and bring 500 people to a game because maybe I can throw out the first pitch would be a childhood dream for me. Then I moved on to Kansas City, and we did the funniest thing with a lot of the widows. We said, let's do a gang sign, and we actually did this, W for widow. And it was so fun to do this with the ladies there. So now it's Worcester. I was able to really kind of share, our secondary circles of loss, which everyone resonated with, and also just the pillars of healthy widowhood that we talk about all the time. And then we did something special, y'all. We launched our widowers for the guys. We now have a virtual community for our guys. And this is the gentleman, Blake Lassiter, who is actually leading that community. They had 5 guys show up, and actually they talked. They really enjoyed, and they were even surprised how open the men were. And so make sure you invite people to that. Go over to modernwidowsclub.org and click communities. Then I was on the TV show Fox KNWA in Northwest Arkansas. Then we launched actually a Modern Widows Club in First United Methodist Church in Fort Smith. And it was really amazing to be on the big stage with the big presentation. And this is a video that you'll be able to see soon. In Cersei, I was actually able to meet the author of this amazing book, which I highly recommend you purchasing, The Circles All Around Us, by Brad Montague. Montague. Oh, I got it right. But it is this extraordinary book that I'll be featuring again in the future. So, but I wanted to tell you about a little story really quickly. Yesterday in Orlando, we were all cleaning up after this amazing event with the ladies. And we had these 10, because we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary, we had these huge balloons. It was a 1 and a 0, and we didn't know what to do with it. And I looked out the window and I said, hey, why don't we give them to those little boys that are walking in this direction? Sure enough, y'all, the little boy had just turned 10 the day before. And so we literally walked out and we handed him this huge balloon. And it was just this beautiful moment where we were like, oh my gosh, divine timing. And the little kid was so excited because what kid doesn't like a whole bunch of balloons? So I just thought I'd share that with you. I want to tell you, there's this one quote that I learned on this trip, and I love it. Bonnie from Birmingham taught it to me. I tell you one thing, if you learn it for yourself, if you have to get down and dig for it, it never leaves you. It stays there as long as you live because you had to dig it out of the mud before you learned what it was. Aunt Addie Norton. And let me tell you something, that's what happened on this trip as I dug and actually learned what's really happening in our widow community, and I'm so grateful. So the word of the day is Sisu. It's Finnish, right? It's, see it here? It is Finnish. It means extraordinary determination and grit, especially in the face of adversity, the courage to take action against all odds, having integrity and taking responsibility. Wow, do I love that word. So for those of you, I just want you to know that over in our shop, we have our Worcester cuffs that if you want to purchase one, you can. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of you at the Widow Empowerment event on September 17th through 19th. If you aren't registered, we would love to welcome you. You guys have a great